As my wife said to me as I came off the field, it was a long day at the office. They were really good, first of all. You know, let's talk about East Carolina. They're a really good football team. We knew that going in. We thought they were very physical. They're getting great play at the quarterback position. Wideouts were really outstanding. Defensively, you know, they're really physical up front. You know, we're a little banged up. They challenged us on the perimeter a little bit. You know, we had one corner down, then our second starting corner went down about halfway through, and he came back, and we ended up losing 2 starting safeties early in the game. So we had to, you know, get some other guys in. But just all in all, I thought they played really well, and we just made way too many mistakes. You know, my message to the team was simple: was you lost to a good football team. We did not play our best football. Do me a favor, done this a long time. Look here first, not there. And we've done a lot. You know, we're a close team, and so I think they'll do that. I don't think they'll panic over this. But it was disheartening because I think we've made such progress, and then, you know, we played against a really good football team. You know, I think, you know, you always question those 16 days. Are you going to take advantage of? They took advantage of the 16 days. They did. I thought they sat on a lot of our routes. I thought, you know, they were pretty physical up front in our run game. We were struggling there. You know, the number of explosive plays showed up again, which, you know, we had kind of, you know, slowed that down a little bit, but boy, they got us a number of times. So it was disheartening. You know, we had a 12 men on the field, which is just inexcusable, but it's one of those where backup corner now becomes a starting corner, trying to get him off the field on some special teams, and he goes back out. And so we found it late, and we just couldn't get him off the field. So just some things like that, some moving parts that just normally haven't happened to us during the season, kind of all built up on one day out there today. So, but again, you know, in terms of, that's a good football team. That's a really good football team. And we have, you know, Army next week. We got to bounce back. You know, again, we are a little beaten up right now, but, you know, it's college football, and you know, big opportunity up there at West Point, and, you know, we have to get the guys ready to go. So, questions?
Which early in the game, they had the first drive and then the turnover. How much do you think that helped to take the team off kilter a little bit?
Well, first of all, I mean, I think, like, we missed, I think it was maybe our first or second drive. We missed an opportunity with JoJo across the middle where it's just inches, and he's home. I mean, he's into, and you just had to make a play or two like that. I thought the kids did a great job down 14, coming back and tying it up. And then we just couldn't, you know, come in down 2 scores. We came down 2 scores, but and then, you know, the whole thought was, hey, we're getting the ball back. I told the team, I don't have a play in my hip pocket for 14, but let's get 7. We get 7 right back in this thing, and unfortunately, we just didn't get anything going. So it was really a complete loss. I mean, you look at offense, defense, and special teams. There was nothing that, you know, was up to the standard that we've had recently, and it's really disappointing because I know I had no problem with their practice this week, their effort. But again, when you play a good team, you got to play a lot cleaner than we played, and we didn't play very clean.
Casey, you talked about them sitting on routes. This looked like the first time what happened was they really booked routes since the Oklahoma game. What specifically were they doing? He threw into triple coverage a couple of times just to look at himself.
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, they did a great, you know, I think they're very well coached. And I think, you know, during those 16 days, they obviously got fresh. But also they, you know, did a great job studying us. And, you know, again, we had some opportunities, and when you just miss on a couple opportunities and all of a sudden, like, those plays become very evident, where, like, Evan's coming around, and boy, he hasn't put the ball in harm's way hardly at all this entire season. I think he threw a pick and probably could have had 2 more. You know, so again, you have to give them a lot of credit. I think a lot of it starts with how physical they are up front. So, you know, they were getting a pretty good pass rush on us. So I think he just was a little out of rhythm. But yeah, that was, you can see it was kind of a complete loss. It was offense, defense, and special teams. And Evan not being on rhythm had more to do with them than I think him.
Did they throw any new with the time off? Did they throw new wrinkles? The first 2 drives particularly were real boom, boom, boom. They scored twice.
Yeah, it's so tough to match their tempo in practice. You try, but it's just really hard. And with how talented they are, and with the tempo, and that's the other thing too. Typically, tempo teams have a limited menu because they're playing fast. When you have that break, you can add a couple wrinkles to that. I think they added a couple wrinkles that we might not have seen. But just the way the schedule worked out. Like, some people do not take advantage of their 16 days off. They just don't. These guys took advantage of their 16 days. They got fresh. We're just in that time of year where we're losing some key guys. Like I said, we lost Castleberry, starting corner, and then Swagay went down during the game, and then all of a sudden we're putting some young guys out there. And then the one young guy, we're like, hey, listen, we're gonna keep you off punt return because you're starting a corner right now, and he goes out on punt return. So it was sometimes with some moving parts like that, you make some mistakes, and those mistakes killed us. We had to make a play in the second half to get back in it, and we didn't make a play, and then on top of it, we added to our own demise by having that 12 men on the field, which I'm crazy when it comes about 12 guys in the field. Like, I'm constantly asking, count 11, count 11, count 11. I was over talking about something else coming up, and I didn't get over. And we have guys in the box who are supposed to do that, and we got to get that fixed because that's bad football, and we got to get that fixed.
Casey, did you see anything from the defense that gave you offensive problems today?
From their defense?
Yes.
Again, I just think that they're really talented up front. I mean, we struggled running to get any run game going at all. And if you know anything about our offense, it's really predicated on, getting that run game going, getting those guys down, getting in behind them. We just couldn't get the run game going. They physically manhandled us up front. And so it starts to limit, the things you can do. Like, we got the run going at times, but, and obviously the pass game, boy, they're sitting on a lot of stuff. They did a really good job they're talented. I mean, that's one of the better teams in the league. I mean, they went, head to head with Tulane and had a pretty good game. So those guys, like I said, that's when you look at the best teams in that league, you can see. And that's what I told the guys, that's what we have to measure ourselves up to. We're not there yet. We're obviously not there yet. We've made great strides, but we're not where we want to be.
Casey, what happened on the fake punt before?
Yeah, that's, first of all, you put yourself in harm's way by having too many on the field. The second thing is the head coach should say, hey, just put the defense out there. It's 4th and 1. That, we went into something called circus. So we're telling our guys there's something funky going on out there. They may fake the punt. So it wasn't like we were surprised. We just, they just ran right at us. But we told our guys when we called circus, like, hey, I think my thought process was I wanted to get the ball in JoJo's hand somehow on a punt return. And so calling circus, letting them know, like, hey, we are anticipating they may fake this. So that's where your eyes need to be first. And I thought that was going to do the trick, and it didn't do the trick. But we put the punt return team out there thinking, we need to see if we can pop JoJo somehow. At the same time, hey guys, we made the call where everybody's alert that they may run a fake on us. So.
With this being the most rushing yards the defense has allowed all season, how much would you say a lack of physicality played into that?
Oh no, they totally out physical us everywhere though. Offense, defense, and special teams. They totally out physical us. And that's disappointing, but at the same time, I mean, again, that's a good football team. That's a mature team. Coach has done a phenomenal job since the day he took over. And like I said, when we see where we are in this whole thing, right now they're definitely a step above where we didn't play well, but a lot of us not playing well was them, not us.
Coach, you mentioned the injuries to Avery and Dante. Were those kind of like injuries that they re-aggravated because they were on the availability report, or was it something new?
Let's see. Avery was a shoulder that popped back up. That it was one of those things where if he doesn't take the hit at the right spot, he's going to be okay. He took a hit at the right spot. I'm sorry. That was AP. I forget. One had a knee that their guy hunted the pile and sort of dove over and kind of took him out. And then I think Avery was the one who had the shoulder. So, yeah, Dante, I think, had the knee. So, yeah, losing both those guys, and then, you know, you're not playing with Castleberry. So now you're kind of playing musical chairs in the back end with your safeties and your corners. The good news is that some young guys played a lot of football. Bad news is I'm not sure if they're all ready to play that many snaps. So.
When it comes to playing physical teams like ECU, do you guys like ever like practice any differently than you would other teams? Because they did like break off through a lot of tackles that
Yeah.
you guys missed. I didn't
Yeah,
think, like,
well, you're at the point in the season too where, you know, you gotta watch how physical your practices are. You know, we go full pads on Tuesday. I've not done that in the past. I've always been just uppers. But, you know, we've talked about trying to get more physical. So, you know, Tuesdays is a full padded practice. And, again, when you're this deep into the season, it's hard to do a lot of pounding because, you know, we have so many guys who are banged up right now and injured. So, I don't know if I would change practice at all, and I was happy how we prepared. It was, you know, they were a pretty physical group.
Casey, with Kevion Mason, obviously he can run, but is he starting to show you more in terms of blitz pickup and just knowledge of the play?
Yeah.
That's getting him out there too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's one of those comfort things where when you have a young guy, you need to see with the bullets flying, and he's got some opportunities, and we think he's a really bright future. We really do. So I think, you know, with Hunter and Duck and him, I mean, I think you got, you know, 3 backs who can play. Again, he's learning all the blitz pickups and those kind of things, but yeah, we'll keep on increasing his packages, no question.
Casey, how does Evan bounce back from tonight?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Evan's like, you know, you talk about people you admire, I admire Evan Simon. He's a kid that, you know, we brought a transfer in to beat him out. I mean, that's why we brought him in. You know, we wanted to get better at that position. And, you know, he didn't care. This isn't gonna bother him. He's just gonna move on. So when you have a guy who's just that strong, and his mental toughness is just at a level that is compared with the best I've ever had, I'd have no thought that he would be able to bounce back from this.
How would you evaluate how McCoy played?
Yeah, it wasn't enough snaps. I mean, you know, he's a good football player. I mean, listen, that thing came down in going into the Massachusetts game into like almost a flip of the coin. And we said, like, listen, we're gonna play both. I've done it long enough to know, like, you don't say, hey, like, you're gonna get the third series, because you just gotta let the game play out. And it started going on, and it's like, I think Evan threw 6 touchdown passes that day. So it's like, oh, it's tough to get this guy off the field. And, you know, so, yeah, like I said, during training camp, it definitely was going like this back and forth. That's why going into Massachusetts, we decided to, you know, go with both of them, giving Evan the first shot, and just, you know, we'd figure out when we get to McCoy. But the ways Evan, you know, it's 21 touchdown passes, and 1 interception, 22 touchdowns and 1 interception, that's unbelievable. And one of the reasons why we've had success is because of his leadership and also because he's played so clean. We did not play very clean, and against a team as good as this, you have to play a lot cleaner than we did. And we'll have to go look, you know, why those things happen. So it's a combination of didn't love our physicality, but I don't know how you fix that in the middle of the season because, again, the banging on Tuesday doesn't help you. We're banged up already. Didn't like that we didn't play very clean, and also got to figure out, like, you know, they sort of sat on some things, you know, offensively and defensively. I think they had our number a little bit. Of course, they had 16 days to focus on us, just us, so maybe that was part of it too. And they're very good coaches. So,
Okay.
yep,
Jeff,
thank
do you have a
guys.
question?